Rosie, it's lovely to be chatting to you ahead of the 2023 season, or maybe by the time this is up, we'll actually be in the 2023 season, which is really, really exciting. So for those that maybe don't know you, can you just briefly introduce yourself?
Yeah, so my name's Rosie. I've probably played soccer most of my life anyways, but I joined at the end of 2022 and I'm back on again for this season.
So where do you play?
At the moment I'm playing as midfielder. I kind of play on the wing.
Perfect. So obviously, as you just said there, you joined the original 3D squad back in the 2020, which is, I suppose, it's like a historic squad, like it will always be
Yeah,
remembered. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
yeah, wow. The biggest thing is it's the league has changed so much. It's grown so much in such a positive way. And I went to Texas for a bit, and when I came back, the change that the league has grown so much is crazy. And
Hmm.
it's so nice to see that the women's game is actually growing so much now.
Yeah, for sure. What was that squad like? Like how, like what's that experience like when you kind of first step into that new squad, new team, new club? What's that like?
Do you know, I will say the atmosphere was so good. Like it's so
Hmm.
nice. Everyone was so welcoming. And, if you were nervous coming in, like you were just settled. It was just so nice. And there were so much new faces as well. There wasn't that many old faces that I knew. But so
Yeah.
it was so nice. So it made it so much easier to kind of get into the team.
Yeah, so as you said, you were actually over in the US in Texas, I think you just said there with Bling College, is it?
Yes, that's
So
right.
what was that experience like? Because I'm sure like loads of people want to hear about that because I'm so interested in hearing what that was like.
Wow. Texas it's a different world out there. It was
Hmm.
absolutely amazing. It was such an experience.
Hmm.
Um, because it's such a different style of soccer out there to
Hmm.
here. Something I
Yeah.
wasn't expecting. Like it's completely two different types of games that you're playing. Um, I'd say the first thing when I first went in there that I found was difficult was the heat because I'm used
Oh
to the
wow,
Irish.
yeah.
So when I was like, I'd say they thought I was so unfit. I'd say the first 15 minutes I passed out with the
Yeah,
heat.
for sure. That's mad.
Yeah, but it was an amazing experience. It was so good.
Would you recommend it to someone that maybe gets the opportunity to go over there and play?
100%. It's good for people who kind of want to keep doing soccer and then they have the college as well
Hmm.
because kind of help you adapt to do both. I know now it's some people kind of find it difficult doing League of Ireland and college, but when you're over there, it's all joined into the one.
Yeah, what were you
And
doing in college over there?
I was doing business.
Oh wow. So
Yeah,
two different, completely different like
very.
lives.
Yeah, that's right. I did do a bit of personal training a year before I went over, but yeah, I did business when I went there.
I think that's such a cool experience, and obviously like it just sounds unreal. I wish I was over there doing that. Um, so obviously, as we just mentioned, you returned to the club for in the September 2022 season, and you made 5 appearances towards the tail end of last season. What was it like returning to the squad once more after your time in the US?
Um, I was nervous. I'll be honest. I was nervous coming back because I wasn't sure to come back during the start of the season because it was kind of mid-season when I came back home.
Hmm.
So joining for at the end of the season, I was a bit nervous because you're kind of just thrown into the deep end.
Hmm.
Um, but again, like I said earlier, the biggest thing with our squad is that everyone is so welcoming and so nice. You don't have to worry about anything when you're coming in.
Yeah, that's for sure. Like obviously I'm new to the Trudy team this season and like I've like all the girls and all the staff have been so beyond welcoming and I'm so excited to be working with you all for the season ahead. Um so obviously you're a 6 Mile Bridge native, you're from Clare in here in Ireland. How did you find growing up in Clare, growing up in Ireland, influence your love for football?
Um, that's a difficult question now. I'll have to think about that. I'd say it's kind of funny because no one else in my family were very sporty. So I
Mm.
was the only I didn't really get it from any of them,
And
but
Clare is usually a typical GAA county, so
yeah. So I played, to be honest, I played every sport I could. I've played rugby, hurling, handball, anything you think of, I tried. Um, but I'd say soccer growing up in Ireland, um, I think right now it's really good for young people looking up that now that there's so much media about it that you
hmm.
can look actually see women playing. So it's like good to have those role models now in
For
Ireland for
sure.
sure.
Did you have anyone you looked up to when you were playing as a youngster?
When I was playing as when I was younger, I would say I think it was Alex Morgan. I know she's from
Hmm.
you. And then I'd say when I got a little bit older, it was Katie McCabe. I
Hmm.
remember played on the Munster schools team. She
Yeah.
came like to say hello to everyone, and since then she's been my role model.
Yeah, so even just you mentioned the Munster schools there, like obviously a lot of people around my age would be playing Munster schools now, even two of the girls out on squad would have been playing it, and even some of the girls are playing it internationally, which is unbelievable for their age.
Yeah.
What was the Munster schools experience like?
Oh wow, that was a really cool experience. At the time, I'd only ever played like local club, and so
Hmm.
when you played Munster, it was like everyone on the team was amazing, like absolutely everyone, and everyone you were playing against was amazing. So it was a completely different level, but it was cool to kind of have the professional environment.
Yeah.
I wasn't used to it, so it was definitely really cool.
Sets you up for kind of what's to come, I suppose, with the senior
Yeah,
women's and later on in life. So basically the 2023 season is upon us now. Like next week is first game of the season,
yeah.
and it might even have been past us now by the time this goes up. How are you feeling about the season ahead?
I'm actually really excited. And I'm really excited about our new coach Albin. He really seems to be so good. And I'd say some people kind of think we're probably the underdogs from the last season, but I
Hmm.
think that's kind of an advantage to us because we'll be going into games and they might overlook us. But
Hmm.
Al's been really training us hard,
Yeah,
doing
as we
run.
saw with the court game, like you went in as underdogs and you came out the victors. So
Yeah,
you're definitely not a team to be underestimated by any means this season.
exactly, exactly. And Alvin has us running all day in training, so that's great. So he has us.
How are the train sessions? Give us a little insight into what a train session's like with Alvin.
They're very good. He's very organized about it, and he has what his goal is for the training, what he wants to achieve.
Hmm.
If you have any questions, like he's no problem at kind of coming to you one on one and
Hmm.
explaining it. Yeah. So it's really nice to have a coach like that who kind of works on every aspect with every player.
Like the coach is basically the glue of the team, and I think it's so important to have a coach that's approachable like Alvin. Alvin's great.
Yeah, 100%. That was a big one with him because not a lot of coaches are approachable. You might be nervous,
Hmm.
but Albin is not. You're very comfortable to walk up to him.
For sure. Um, Obviously we've a great age range in the squad this season. Like we've players like Kieran McCormack, who's that bit older with so much experience, and we've the youngsters like Katie Lawley. I was actually had an interview with her yesterday. Such a
Yeah,
bright upcoming talent. What's it like
yeah.
having like so many different age groups and age ranges in the squad?
It's really good actually. It kind of makes the atmosphere kind of good because everyone's gelling together. It's not like just a really really young team or just a really older team, and the older ones kind of look after the younger ones a little bit. Um, but we have so much great players coming up out of the younger ones. I'm actually shocked. Like, because when I was that age, I was nowhere near that ability, and they're coming up, and I'm like, whoa! Like, there's some future to come with them.
Yeah, they're buckets full of energy anyway. They'll be running rings around you maybe by the end of the season.
For sure.
Um, And obviously with like age comes experience. Are you learning anything from those older, more experienced players such as Kieran McCormack?
Yeah, 100%. Actually, she was training yesterday with us, and she's very calm on the ball and stuff like that, and she's very vocal. So that's kind of something I'm kind of learning now from her, just off of one training with her yesterday.
And what are you learning from any maybe from the younger players because they have their own little teachings too.
Yeah, the younger players are very creative. Like if you're coming up against them, you don't know what they're going to pull out, like what
Mhm.
skill, but they could do anything. So I think being unpredictable with them is something I'd probably take on from them.
What are you looking forward to most about the season ahead?
Um, I'm not sure. There's so many I'm kind of looking forward to, so much things I'm looking forward to in the season. I think we have a lot of new international players coming in, and I'd love to see how we perform this season with such a wide variety of players.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I'm most looking forward to.
Yeah,
Just the matches.
like seeing the girls coming in like from the US and from Canada and like obviously with Kieran McCormick and all these like great signs and the youngsters like it's such a like whenever I see new signs I'm like oh my God this team just keeps getting better and better and even more exciting like the experience the like everything it's so exciting to see and I think everyone's really excited to see this team coming into the season.
Yeah, 100%. The players that have came over internationally are unbelievable. Honestly, they're top class players. So it's really nice to be able to get that in. It's so nice the league is kind of growing. So now that
Yeah.
we can do that and bring players in, I just said it improved the league a lot.
And come like this is a new one now. I've not saying the question these questions to the girls. But do you have any specific routines on match day that like help you get in the zone coming into match day? Or do you have a special thing that you like about match day?
Yeah, I definitely have my routines. I have to do things like a certain way. So I always have to have pasta every time of a match day. I probably overeat pasta at this stage, but always have to eat pasta before. But I would say before I go out, I always have to put on my left boot first and my right
Hmm.
boot second. Don't know why that is, but that's just like my match day routine.
And do you have any like special moment from a match that you've had previously that you kind of hold near and dear to your heart whenever you head into match day saying, "Oh, I want it to be like this."
Oh, I would say it would be back when I was under 17s. I would say it was then we were against Galway, I think, and it was a 1-1 and I had scored a goal. And so I rarely actually do score goals in games. And so that was a big moment for me that years ago that happened that I still kind of hold to me.
What would you say to your younger self now if you could talk to her?
Oh, um, I would say work harder. I'd say work harder because I think the competition now is it's getting so much harder to compete
Hmm.
and it could have been a bit more lax. And so I would say to kind of put in a little bit more work because the league's growing and so there's so much new people coming in. So it's making it so much harder to actually make that team.
Hmm. And what advice would you give to the younger players that are maybe experiencing senior women's league for the first time?
Um, I would say for me when I was just joined in when I was younger, I think I was 16 or 17 when I first signed for the treaty team, the senior team. I was really, really nervous and I felt like a lot of pressure. So I would say to them to try not overthink it. Don't feel any pressure or, be confident in yourself for any of the younger players.
I think that's such a great message as well, even for the youngsters that they're maybe looking to enter the League of Ireland academy system or the senior women's hopefully in the future. Because obviously you have a lot of young boys and girls looking up to you as their role models. What does that feel like when you have people looking up to you wanting to be in the future? Because obviously these young girls and boys that are watching you are the new generation of football.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's weird to think of, really. I wouldn't even think that there is that. I don't know. That's weird to think of. I don't know. I actually don't know how to answer that.
I
It's
suppose it's kind of a nerve-wracking feeling that there's eyes on you, but I suppose it's a really cool feeling at the same time knowing that you're inspiring kids to like to be where you are.
Yeah, 100%. And it's nice to have this support. It's cool to
Mm.
have that. 100%.
So obviously, we're into the 2023 season. The girls have been training for a while. You've all been together for a while. How do you feel you're kind of getting on together, like even off the pitch?
I think this year is probably our best year that we've all gelled really together. And I
Hmm.
suppose it's weird to say because it's such a wide age range. So it's with people from everywhere, but it just kind of works. We just kind of clicked. Everyone gets on with everyone. There's no groups or anything like that. Everyone can speak to everyone. So it's a really, really good atmosphere.
Yeah, I think that's so good because you can't be a team, I suppose, when you're not a team off the pitch as well.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I know some girls kind of meet up outside of trainings as well. So we're all friends.
That's good. That's like I love that when there's like a little family, a little group in there. And like I suppose like it's great that you have each other to lean on because obviously I know some of the girls are doing exams, like some of them are still in
Yeah,
secondary school, some of them are in college. Like Joe, you have each other to lean on and you're all going through the same thing.
yeah, geez, that's crazy to think there's some girls doing their leaving cert and they're doing this because this takes up a lot of time as well.
Yeah.
So fair play to them, honestly.
Yeah, it's such a commitment, but they all seem to be enjoying it so far.
Yeah,
Um, Obviously we want as many results for you this season, and hopefully we will see that undoubtedly this season. Um, but what are your personal goals for the season, bar obviously the team goals?
personal goals. I would say so. Not the team goals. So not our is in.
Obviously, team goals as well. I presume you're just hoping for results. But what are your team goals and personal goals?
I would say our team goals would be definitely to kind of win more matches and compete more. I think
Hmm.
that was the big one is to compete because we're well able to compete.
Hmm.
Um, personal goals. Um, I have a lot of little things that I want to improve on, but I wouldn't
Hmm.
say that like stretched out as in big goals. Do you know?
Sure.
I kind of
Every goal, little or big, like I think they're important. So go on ahead, tell me one.
I would say um my personal goals would be to improve like my speed and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Like goals are to be one of I'm nowhere near fast now, but I want to be by the end of the season one of the faster players or
Hmm.
be fitter. Definitely try get more game time and see if I can perform at a higher level.
And I think those goals are so important because even with some of the other girls I asked, it's obviously, getting on the pitch or doing this and that. But that's actually so interesting to hear because it's like, it's the little things and it's like, it's achievable and it's all this and you can actually maybe see the results by the end of it. And it's a, like, I really like that for some reason. I really like those little goals.
Yeah.
So obviously, as we mentioned before, the women's game has become like there's so many more eyes on it. There's been such an investment in the women's game and women's sports in general over the past few years, especially in Ireland. Like you can't see it, you can't
You're,
do it. Um, we're obviously trying to keep the women's game alive, and we're trying to get a lot of support behind the women's this season. What would you say to those people that maybe are half tempted to come and see a women's game this season, even on March 4th? Because we hope to get a good crowd on March 4th.
um I would say the women's games are actually quite entertaining. I feel like there's a lot of um different comments about women's games in soccer, but
Hmm.
the women's game has came along so much and so it's changed so much. So it's way more entertaining now to watch. And I really think that for us as players, when you
Hmm.
have support, it kind of it boosts you up and
Hmm.
motivates you. And it actually does go a long way for when you're
Hmm.
playing more than you
So
think.
for sure, like obviously we're hoping for a lot of support, especially for the home games, but the away games would be great as well because I don't think people realize how much people being there means to you.
Yeah, no, 100%. It really does. And it actually does impact the game. Because if it's an empty stand, it's so much a different atmosphere to when you have a full stand and you've parents, friends, everyone watching you. So you want to perform not only for the team, but for them as well. So it's a good boost kind of to motivate you.
Well, I'm going to definitely be your number one supporter this season. You will see me
Great.
screaming out in the stands, and I'm hopefully a lot of other people will be too.
Brilliant. I hope so as well.
Yeah, so I think that's it, Rosie. Thank you so, so much.
No problem. Thank you
Thank
as well.